Logan. People are not really gonna like my thoughts on this one. So, to be honest with you guys, I had never seen this movie before. Um, I'm a huge Wolverine fan, huge fan of the X Men movies, but I wasn't allowed to watch radar movies, so it just never happened when I was younger. And also, like, I don't know, I was young when this movie came out. What, 2017? I must have been like 12. I don't know how old I was. I was young. So I didn't see this one in the theater when this movie came out. Also, I was more concerned about Power Rangers at the time. That movie. Yeah. And Kong Skull Island. I didn't watch Logan or the Beauty and the Beast remake. Man, that was a packed month for movies. What a weird time. Most of those movies were hits except Power Rangers. So maybe I bet on the wrong movie. Anyways, I heard a lot about this movie for years, and I do like James Mangold as director. I really enjoyed his work on the last Indiana Jones movie, and I know some people are going to just start like giving me shit in the comments for that. But yeah, I liked his work on that, Walk the Line, and some other movies he did. Not so much a fan of 4v Ferrari and some other movies, but I don't know. I did like his work on the Wolverine, and I don't know. I saw this, so I sat down to watch this movie, and I guess it wasn't what I expected. People have told me for years how great this movie is, how it's so dark, so violent, and yeah, it is a very bleak movie, and that's kind of, and there are some pros to that, but I don't think this was the great masterpiece that some people told me it was. It still has a lot of the problems that the other X Men movies do. I don't think any of the X Men movies are honestly masterpieces, except maybe Days of Future Past, because I feel like that was the closest we got to capturing what an X Men movie should be, where like all the other movies haven't really done that. And this is a great Wolverine movie in a lot of ways, but it also is not at the same time. So let's get into the pros of this movie before I talk about what doesn't work for me. I think this is a really well directed movie. James Mangold clearly put his heart and soul into this movie, um, and I think you can feel that. And I think that Hugh Jackman's performance is great. Of course it is, right? It always is. But I think that this performance is so good because at a certain point you watch him in this movie and you really feel that, hey, this dude has been playing this character for so long and now he's old and in grayed up, like just like the character. And so, kind of being, so kind of he's given a strong performance because he was been playing this character for so long. Same thing with Patrick Stewart in this character. I think that in some ways, though, uh, it is really beautiful and just one well done performances. Anyways, next part here that I really enjoy here is I enjoyed the bleak tone in some aspects, and I say in some. I'll talk about what doesn't work about it for me. I really enjoy Charles's more optimistic side, being shoved against Logan's optimistic side, especially since it's not really clear what happened to the X Men and what happened between Charles and Logan in the past, but you see that Charles is, um, clearly maybe have done something horrible that wasn't his fault, and so that brings a jadedness to Logan, who's having to now take care of him, and also just to him probably also having made mistakes, things like that. And so I think his optimistic side is a great juxtaposition because there is a darker edge to it where you don't really know what happened, but you know something happened. So maybe in a lot of ways, Charles Xavier's positive side that's always been a part of that character maybe is for not this time around. And that's an interesting juxtaposition, interesting look at these characters, and I like all that. And I just see all that, and that's really great. And also seeing Logan become a kind of father daughter to this girl, I think it could have been done better. And I'll get to that in my negatives, but yeah, I just think that I don't know. I think that there's some things here, but I liked all of that stuff. And the other thing I really enjoy about this movie is just I think there are a lot of great character moments and just great character work and writing in this movie, and a lot of great scenes and just yeah, I really enjoy all that. Where this movie doesn't work for me is I love the rated R tone here. I love the violence because that's Wolverine for you. I mean, he can work in other settings. He's a great character like that. But just seeing Wolverine actually be jaded to be able to like violently murder people, that is a great thing that you want to see. And I love all that. But I think it's kind of like weird when you're just seeing like Patrick Stewart be like, "Fuck you, Logan." It's like, okay, like I don't know. It just felt off. Like that's not stuff the characters would say, and they're just saying it because it is rated R, and it just feels a little bit awkward at certain points. The other thing that I really don't like here is how much this movie is still fucking embarrassed by the source material. First of all, it is overly serious. And I get that this movie needed to be serious, but it felt like it was overly serious, especially in the moments where they're like, here's the comic books that are fictional books in this universe and not actually, you know, like they shouldn't be in the movie because they've adapted those storylines. You know, it's just like, okay, like, I don't know. It just felt like that's a really big embarrassment of the source material where you're showing off the source material and yet somehow these movies are still nothing like the fucking source material. It just bugs me. And the other thing I really don't like is I don't really think that Logan was a really great um, father daughter story in this movie like it was trying to be in some points. Most of this movie, this girl doesn't talk, and so I don't buy their relationship being the way it is, especially with what happens at the end of the movie and Logan's death. I just think that what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. I just felt like there needed to be more to their actual relationship to build to that ending a little bit, and it felt like kind of awkward for me. I, 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 I do really like this movie, and I have a feeling that if I rewatch it again, I will enjoy it more. But I'm still sitting here frustrated by this movie because I think this movie could have been greater than it is, but yet somehow it isn't as great as it should be. I don't know. And maybe it's just because I heard so much about this movie going into this movie. Kind of same thing with the first Deadpool movie. I heard a lot of things about Deadpool, but at least Deadpool I had a better idea of what to expect. Here I really didn't, other than it's a more jaded, grown up take on Logan with radar and violence. Like I knew that, but I didn't really know what the storyline was, things like that. Where Deadpool, again, I kind of had an idea what to expect, and maybe that's what it was. I don't hate this movie, so I don't really want you to come across like I hate this movie. I do like this movie. There's a lot of great things about it. I did praise a lot of stuff about it. I just think that I couldn't help but be a little disappointed because I watched this movie with such high expectations because of what people told me, and actually sitting down and watching it, I was a little bit like, well, this isn't what people told me it was, and that's unfortunate. Like I wanted it to be what I thought it was going to be, and I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I really enjoyed this movie, just not as much as I was hoping, unfortunately. But again, I think that if I rewatch this movie, I'll probably like it more. And the other thing too is after seeing Dial of Destiny, I think that I think maybe picking him to direct an Indiana Jones movies was kind of Disney's mistake because I think he just took the Logan approach to Indiana Jones, and I think for some people that didn't work. For me, it worked. I liked what they did with that, but I think other people didn't want to see that. But it's clear he was going to do that because of Logan. So, I don't know what they expected, but I like this movie. You all can hate me or be the dumbass naysayers, but I don't know. I like this movie still, plain and simple.